virus craziness, given that we're all at home and now we are all social distancing and now we can all do remote interviews, I figured I would start interviewing friends of mine, folks that I enjoy chatting with. And let's look, without further ado, let's say hello to today's guest. If I can get this thing to work, we're going to find out. Hey there.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? You been all right?
Hey, it's good to see you, man.
Hey, good, man. I know you said that. I just heard you earlier that this is your first time working with this new software. It's crazy. There's so many virtual out there. We're trying to figure out how to stay connected, man. So it's really cool, and thank you for bringing me.
So I did a a lot of work too, but it was just cool to be able to sit and chat with people that were people whose work I was a fan of, or who were, friends of mine that just wanted to kind of dig into it a little bit deeper. And so it was a really cool thing to do. And I figured, well, this is kind of that kind of thing. So anyway, appreciate you hanging out and being on air. But so before we get going, I know it's been a crazy few months. What have things been like for you amidst all of this coronavirus, the quarantining, staying at home? What's been going on?
It's been pretty cool, man, because I get to spend a lot of time with the family. I became a virtual teacher with the kids at the house, and I've been doing everything from home, and just now realizing that you don't have to go to an office to have an interview. And if you can get on, a lot of the softwares like Zoom, WebEx, Live Studio, Microsoft Teams, you name it, I've been able to talk to still the athletes. If I'm having to train them, I'm doing like virtual workouts with them. But then if I have to train, also doing virtual workouts with them, doing something like the virtual draft with the Dallas Cowboys. That was pretty cool too, with me and Jamie Foxx. Still being able to be in that atmosphere, have some fun, but do it all from your home, comfort of your own home, from the computer. So it's been great. And what about you?
Well, a lot of what you just described, you become a teacher, you hang out with your kids a lot. You learn that maybe teachers are really underpaid.
Yes, they are.
A lot more money. We moved in the middle of this, so that was a massive headache to try to move when you're trying to be socially distant and everything. Luckily, it was just down the street, but still a lot of work.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I'm watching the live stream here, and I think we're hearing you, but we're not seeing you, so we're just going to go with it. It's going to be DeMarcus Ware's voice, but your video is not popping up for whatever reason. I can see you, though.
Okay, great.
In case anybody's watching and they're wondering, like, what's with the black screen?
Where is he at? I can see you. I can see myself. That's the problem with technology. So maybe, let me see if I can press this. No, share my screen.
But I see you, so it's, yeah.
You can see me?
Yeah, I see you, and you're on and all that good stuff. So
what about now? I just clicked.
No, I've seen you the whole time. It's just not popping up, but we'll go with it. It'll be what it is. It'll be like listening to the radio as you watch your computer. So it was 2017 when you hung them up, right? Yeah. And I mean, since then, I feel like, and I'm going to see if I can get this to work. I want to pop up your Instagram, because I feel like you have been so busy posting like training videos on Instagram. It's like this is your almost your second calling now.
Right. It really is, because I've been able to affect so many fans inside of the stadium through my play. We're playing with two amazing teams, and now I want to affect people outside of the stadium, still with the same type of leadership, championship mentality, but now I can tap into and motivate them through fitness. I've always been a big performer, and I cannot stay out of the gym. So now this right here is an opportunity for me to now shed some light, not only for the fans that are inside of the stadium, but affect everybody also outside of the stadium and connecting with them. So I'm building the gym. It's called 3 Volt Fitness and Trophy Club here. Working with the Dallas Cowboys on some stuff for Baylor, Scott, and Wright. Building some other programs through @DrivenToWin, social handle. So just been working and maneuvering my way through a totally whole different atmosphere, but it's been fun.
Hmm.
I've been enjoying doing it, and I need to come over there and get workouts and get you right. I know you said you wanted to get that six pack after the quarantine, so
Lately I've been buying too
so
many
I can
six
help you
packs.
out with
Yeah, no, hey man, I appreciate that. Well, especially I think with everybody having to spend so much time at home lately and staying away from gyms, and I think it's going to be a while before people go back to the big gyms. They might go to like a boutique place where they clean and all that kind of stuff. But I think that's it might be a place like LA Fitness gets packed again. So it could be perfect time.
I think it's going to be a challenge. Yeah, it's going to, but I think that small groups, people will still come if they have individualized. You know, you got to sanitize like crazy.
Mhm.
But athletes can do it. Anybody can do it. So I think you take the right precautions, and you still get out there and try to get it any way possible.
And substantially less wear and tear on your body, by the way, to do those kinds of workouts and get fit that way than by having to chase down quarterbacks and face off a lineman all the time.
Oh my God, man! I think about the practices, how I felt after the practices, how I felt after the football games. Like it was like the air, and I couldn't even walk after some of the football games. And I was like, how long are you going to be able to do this, man? And they're like, I think I was, 34, 35. You know, but if I hang the cleats up, you know, you've done everything that you needed to do and win a championship, play for two great teams, you had a great career. What can you do now to get your body back right? So I started actually in my garage in my brownstone here in South Lake. I put a whole fitness gym in there, and I fitted it out really nice things and started working out, doing all recovery stuff. And I said, if it takes me 6 to 8 months back to that awesome football show, I can show other people how to do it too. And I was like, I can actually motivate them to still work out to get their bodies back right, because I did it every single year, performance level, but also recover as fast as anybody. And now I was when I played the last 2 years. My body feels good, so now just trying to get back.
Well, it's funny because I remember talking to MJD, Maurice Jones-Drew at NFL Network about the wear and tear, and he looks like he could, deliver a lick. He would talk about hated getting hit.
Yeah.
And I think as fans just assume, oh, these guys live for it. They do. But at the end of the day, those Mondays have to be rough. Those off seasons have to be rough. And I think there comes a point, especially as you get older, you watch the guys, man, I'm glad I don't have to take that beating.
I look at some of these guys now, looking at the draft, how fast and big some of those guys have gotten. And then, that's my dog right there. So, we're at the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have to, tackle a guy like a Saquon Barkley, right?
Yeah.
Or chase Alvin Kamara. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, it's dude, those dudes, man, they're just crazy athletes.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, as I said, do you think that there's something different about football, though, where I think that for fans, we think you play football, and we put air quotes around play, right? As though it's just this game, and I'd play football, and not realizing how much work the game is, especially given the wear and tear it takes on your body, versus a round of golf, versus a sport that's less taxing, like baseball. Because I do think there are play pro football because they were blessed with this amazing ability and they had the opportunities. But you're right. I don't have time for this because this is the way I make a living. And I think it's that way for guys, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, the thing is, like, a lot of the guys, they do this, and I can look at the track record. A lot of those guys that grew up families, right, and they don't have an opportunity to just go get a scholarship. And they go and play a sport that at first of all, you use your aggression, you use your revengeful type mentality, you use your aggression of all the bad things that have happened to you when you were younger, and you put that on the football field, right? And a lot of people don't understand that it's almost like the best players have went through the most, and see that they're doing that because they have no choice. Everybody has a choice. I think everybody has a choice, but perfect choice for where I am in my life to get a scholarship because I don't have any money. But now I'm doing this for a living because this right here, God wants me to do genetically, but also it fits my mentality of who I am. And the great guys learn how to control that aggression. And once they control that aggression, that's when they become great.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to see a lot of those guys that come in, like, they come into all this money, but they don't know what to do with it. You start to realize, and you start to see how they mature when they come in as a rookie, how they become young men. And it's really, really just cool to see, man. I'm on my soapbox right now, but it's just a great thing to see.
Well, I imagine for guys, when you finally hang them up, that decision is incredibly tough. It is emotional. There's the saying goodbye, but I imagine there's also this like kind of sigh of relief. I mean, was that what it was like for you?
I remember sitting in New Orleans at the time, and I had just visited the LA Rams, Los Angeles Rams. Well, I don't know what the name of it, but all these teams are changing right now. But Wade had the Broncos to the Rams. And he told me, "Man, I want you to be my third down guy to help out with Quinn and help out with Aaron Donald." And then that's when I remember me and Andrew Whitworth, we were sitting down. He said, "DeMarcus, I'll be the captain of the offense. You be the captain of the defense." And this is one of the meetings before I got to New Orleans. Once I got to New Orleans, I sat back, and they were like, "DeMarcus, we're going to offer you the kitchen sink." They offered me a lot of money. And it was so hard to turn it down, but I knew that it was time for me. Because mentally, I said I can't do more.
Mm-hmm.
Because physically, my body, the wear and tear, and mentally, I could have went out there and said, "You know what, I can just rush on third down and just go out and play, still get sacks." But I said, man, if I'm going to be out there 100% for my teammates, you got to be all in. More than 94 is one of my favorite numbers. I don't know why, but I just think that I had to be 100 in the whole deal. And I remember calling my agent, and it was like quiet on the phone, and I said, "I think I'm done." You see what they're offering me, right? And I said, "I know." I said, "It's not about the money." I said, "This is about my mentality and about my legacy, and I leave on top." And once he said, "All right, we need to write, something and put it out there and tell everybody what you're doing," and I said, I'm very serious. And I just started like crying on the phone. And it was one of those things where it was one of those 5 things that people go through in their lives, like either death, having a baby, getting fired from their job, like these big things in your life that you go through to where you got to grieve through it for a while. It took me like a year to really get over it because I wasn't playing. I didn't watch any football after
That's
I
tough.
retired. I didn't watch any football.
Yeah.
And I remember one day my son came in and said, "Dad, will you watch a football game with me?" And we sat down and watched the football game. I couldn't watch it because I was the players. Because I knew all the plays. I knew exactly how to break the players down. And he handed me some popcorn. And I looked at it and I said, "You know what? Let me try to be a fan for a change."
Mm-hmm.
I actually grabbed a beer, some popcorn. I had some hot wings, and I turned the grill on. I started explaining everything to my son, and I started having fun again. I started becoming a fan of football and not a competitor and player of the game. And it started I started getting like really, really happy about the situation and talking about it because and people don't understand that the X's and O's, they look at them as stats, but they're characters, right?
Yeah.
They actually move, they are people. And when people start realizing that, that's when they start seeing that football is just not about the X's and O's anymore.
Well, I think that being able to share it with your kid too is almost like, the end of a chapter, the beginning of a new one, and I imagine that helps.
Right. Right.
But I do want to talk about your career for just a second because I want to show you some images. See if you can see them. If you can see them on your screen, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind when you think about sacking this quarterback. So let's see if I can get it to pop up. Hold on just a second. Let's see. Here we go. See him? What's the first thought when you think of sacking this guy?
I think about the Super Bowl. The
Yes.
first thing I think about is the Super Bowl and one of the highest parts of my career. I mean, Cam Newton, he was at the time, I think the MVP, offensive MVP. They probably lost maybe 2 games that year, and they were unstoppable. And I can remember me and Peyton sitting in the locker room during the Super Bowl, and both of us were sitting there quiet. And you can feel that vibe, like the heartbeat of the locker room. And me and him you had the sheriff and you had the deputy, right? That was just getting the troops. We were rallying the troops. And I remember right before the game, every locker room and prayed together. And that was the first time that everybody went into the locker room and prayed together, because we started the season, there was like 10 guys, each game 20, 30, 40, it goes on, and then the last game, everybody was in there. And I remember telling the guys, I said, you remember that model we had of iron sharpens iron and another man sharpens another? And everybody sat quiet. And I said, everybody's here. Everybody has put in what they needed to put in. And I said, you remember that piece of iron that we were sharpening the whole season, all the ups and downs? I went through a couple of details. They're trying to come in here and steal our trophy. We molded this trophy. This is our trophy. And I said, we molded this with all of the heat and sacrifice we went through this whole season. And I said, we're not going to let them come in here and steal. I said, I made a promise to you. You get me and Peyton to this Super Bowl, we're not going to lose. Who's with us? And dude, I'm talking about, I still get chilled right now just from that point. Everybody was dead silent. You know how usually you guys like, ah! It was like quiet. Yeah. You can see like the glare in everybody's eyes. Like Lion is going to go find a prey or something. It was like, oh. And I looked at Peyton and I said, we're ready. And he broke it down. And when we went out there, it was total silence. When we first went out there, you know, he had the confetti, thing was going on. But at that time when they said the Denver Broncos, was total silence because we were just that focused to win that football game.
Well, I remember, and by the way, I'll take a little bit of credit for that win because, I mean, I know I was out there 2-a-days training camp, the whole 9 yards, because I picked you guys that week, and I remember the Panthers were the favorite, and I felt like one of those deals where nobody was giving you guys the credit with the coaching, with the veteran team. The Panthers, they'd been challenged a little bit that season. I think they just lost the one game, and it just felt like you have to learn how to win. And they won despite not doing some of the little things. I mean, they won on Cam's back. I mean, he had an amazing season that year. But I believe you had 2 sacks of him in that game. Y'all rattled him, and that was a spectacular Super Bowl. And, again, congrats on the win. I want to be respectful of your time, so I want to move on. And I just want to know the first of your mind, when you, let's see, think of getting this guy?
Oh, that brings me back to my Dallas days with Wade Phillips. And I remember the first time I went up there and played Tom Brady. And they were like, this guy plays with it. And like, what does that mean, quarterback, dagger? And we went out, they were like, hey, the New England Patriots hadn't lost a game at home in like 72 games. It was something stupid, right? It was something
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And I'm like, okay, well, they're going to lose this one. So the first half, it was 14 to like 12, some weird winning. We're like, we're going to go out and just crush them. But I didn't know the Patriots prepare during halftime in the third and fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out there, and Tom Brady, because we had a couple plays that we were messing around, and we would say Brady, Brady, Brady. That was if he was going to have a quarterback sneak, or we would say Brady 2, and that was like run to the right. We had like little things, and we were playing with Brady. So Brady comes back, and he's like, blue 8, blue 8. I'm like, what? What is he doing? He ran the ball right at me. Had like 3 guys at me. The next time, D Ware 1625, whatever, some crazy number, throws the ball deep, knowing that I was actually not rushing. And
Yeah.
he knew that I hated to drop back.
Uh-huh.
And he would put like a little small wide receiver on me. I think it was Wes Welker at the time, and he freaking crushed me. And I was like, you know what? That is one of the coolest things I've ever got to encounter from a quarterback. Somebody that played with so much tenacity, but also prepared. They said, you know what, you gave it to me the first half. I got you the second one. And every year that I played him, I prepared a lot better after that, knowing who he actually was and what he meant to the game. And, as I look at this picture, it's just like pure legend. I mean, that's the only thing that you can say is that's a legend, and he's still playing the sport right now.
Yeah, which is amazing. And he put a not too terrible golf game on display the other night.
Exactly.
All right, let's see if I can pop this next one up here. This one I'm especially excited to get your take on. If we can get this to work. All right, this is the guy who you put on the turf more often than anybody.
Every single
14
time,
and a half sacks.
dude, I remember that look that every time I played Eli, he was like, he's coming. Like, I know he's coming. And, the NFC East, if you play any NFC East team, it was like that grudge match because they were in your division. But every year we played the Giants, it was where like I just hated the Giants.
Yeah,
And
of course.
I'm like, I have to sack Eli as much as possible to win this football game because first of all, I remember they had Strahan, OC, they had Tuck. I remember losing to them like the 13-3 season that I had. They won the Super Bowl that year, I think against the Patriots or Green Bay. And the second time they won it against whatever, I think the Patriots. But every year I'm like, okay, well, we could have beat these guys. And they would come back at the end if they started out winning the Super Bowl. And they were in my division. And I look at Eli and I'm like, man, this dude is like, I called him the plastic man. Every single time I was out there, I'm like, how do you get away out of the defender's hands all the time and throw the football? And I feel like, with Eli, he was one of those guys that was so underrated because of maybe a Peyton or other guys that had flash, but he had the results at the end of the day. I mean, 2 Super Bowls, playing consistent. I mean, so he gets a different type of rap sheet than a lot of other quarterbacks. But, man, he played his butt off, and he to this day, no matter what, he still has that face, that blind stare look. If it's scoring a touchdown or winning a football game, he was straightforward, no matter what, no emotions.
Well, I think that's also partially why he gets some flack from people is he's got just resting Eli face, you know. So let's see here. I'm going to let's see if I can pop another one up for you. All right. So how about I got just a couple other guys real quick.
Okay.
How about this guy? You don't have any career sacks, although I'm sure you got him in practice.
Drew Bledsoe, and from that point on, it was like the magician. He was like the magician out there on the football field, and we always called him the gunslinger. I mean, Bill Parcells started calling him that, and from that point forward, we every year like we knew that we could win a championship with Romo, and it's like we just weren't good enough, but we had everything, like every single thing that we needed. And he was a great leader too. Like he was a great leader on the team. One of those guys where you didn't see it a lot on the field, but off the field in the meeting room. I mean, we studied our butts off in the off season, during the season. He was really focused, and I mean, even to this day now, all the talking that he did, I see why he did all that talking because he's in the perfect job, being one of the best, broadcasters out there, and I mean, he's doing a really good job, man. And I always call him the gunslinger. He's always, that guy that we came in and we were like the underdogs, and we came out to fight every week.
Well, I mean, as a Cowboys fan, loved watching him play. It's funny. Whoever is the quarterback for the Cowboys is going to be polarizing because there's still people out there who think Troy Aikman was overrated and they call themselves Cowboys fans, and I don't get it. But I mean, I think you've got a similar situation with the guy in Dallas now, and who's just coming up next, Dak Prescott. I feel like people, they're going to pick apart his game, and if he has a good game, it's because of the guys around him. If he has a bad game, it's because it's his fault.
Yeah, and no matter what, when you playing for the Dallas Cowboys, that star, it shines bright every single week. And people don't understand that you can be as consistent as you want to. You're under a microscope. And when you're under that microscope, I can see a piece of hair or I can see, a little blemish on you. And those things get magnified instead of what you really see. So I think, Dak is doing a great job. I mean, they're lighting the stat sheet when it comes to being like the number one offense, being consistent. Defensively, they're doing the same thing. But just one thing that I see that's missing is you can have as many stats as you want to, but you got to score the points that add up to those stats.
Yeah.
And once they can convert those stats into points, I promise you they're going to be winning the Super Bowl this year. I know that they can do that. And, I mean, don't know if they're going to franchise him or, sign a deal. I know he's going to be there. He's going to be throwing that football for the Dallas Cowboys this year, especially with, the new draftees that they have coming in and a leader. But I wonder how the whole NFL is going to come back after this COVID-19, not having OTAs, minicamp, training camp. You really want to see the leadership of the quarterbacks. And I know that Dak is, holding these guys to the grind and doing what he needs to do. And that's what makes, the quarterbacks great. And we want to see exactly, who is consistent in the offseason, no matter if we saw him or not.
Well, let me ask you this, and I don't want to put you on the spot too much because I know, especially given that people will twist it, all the stuff you hear about the contract and what he wants and what the team's been offering him. How do you see that playing out?
Um, I feel like I feel like they'll have some. I think that's my take. Because the thing is, you don't want to have something like this way, especially with not even being able to know if you're going to have an NFL season or not.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to go into an NFL season and yeah, you say you slap a franchise team. So then the whole season, you're going to have to be worried about when we're going to sign them, how much money is going to get. It can take and be a problem. And it's just, how it goes. It will be a problem. So hopefully they get this done this off season. And so they can go into us and saying that we have our franchise quarterback and we have all the people need because they do, especially from the guys that create a lot of turnovers down in big plays.
I mean, is he worth 175 million?
You know what? I just go into anybody's pocketbook and play good.
Yep.
Right? And obviously, I don't know what the hiccup is here. I never say what somebody's worth. I know he's worth that starting position. Cowboys and how big their pocketbooks are. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
If somebody's significant for the team, you do what you got to do.
Well, like I said, I'm not trying to get because I know that players I've talked to don't talk about another. And I think it's.
No,
I
never will. I never talk about another man.
Well, because from a fan's perspective, you look at these numbers and it's easy. I get where fans are coming from. You see multi-million-dollar contracts just play, but at the same time, you've got a short earning window. You've got to maximize every dollar. You're risking your livelihood every single play on the field. And what I think makes the whole thing tricky is the salary cap, because at some point you can't play every single guy what he wants. You've got to be judicious with that. Yeah. But you also want to root for the players who are the ones with the skin of the game, because let me tell you, an owner's never lost money. These franchises don't lose money. So anyway, I hope, just from a fan's perspective, hope it gets done. Hope they put a winning product on the field, and that we can stop talking about it too, because man, single week.
Exactly. We ain't done.
All right, I won't bring up the pictures because I want to be respectful of your time here. But one other guy that I did a photo of was Von Miller. I got a chance to do a story with Von. And despite the fact that he went to Texas A&M, I still thought he was pretty cool and just enjoyed being around him. He seems like one of those guys that in the locker room and on the field of play just makes the game a joy.
The thing is, when I first got to Denver, I remember, seeing Vaughn. I knew him before that. We worked, a little bit off the field, did some pass rush stuff before each one of the seasons, and then I got to play with him. And one thing that I realized that he was the heart of the team. And what I mean by that is like one of those guys, no matter what the day brought, he was just very energetic all the time, playing music. His locker was right beside mine. I got tired of him playing all that music all the time. But he would play music all the time, tell jokes all the time, get all the guys riled up before practice. And that is very commendable, especially in a sport to where every single day you're beating yourself up and trying to compete against other players just like a gladiator. But he was, once I got there, very consistent on his play, what he was focused on, and even to this day, he's one of the best linebackers that playing the position right now. So I know it's a different crazy off season, but just talking to him, he's very, very focused and ready for his next season.
Well, I just root for him. The NFL doesn't always do a great job of promoting personalities. You guys wear helmets on the field. We don't see you as much, versus a basketball team. You got 5 guys out there and they're on camera with their face uncovered the whole time. But personalities like him, Richard Sherman's another one, beast mode. It's fun to find guys that aren't afraid to show their personality a little bit. And again, got to see that up close and personal. And last but not least, the picture. I do want to show this one because it's such a good picture. And you've already talked about him once. I'll have you weigh in just again real quickly. Is this guy right here?
That is my dude. God, man. Oh, man. That is my dude. Like, Wade Phillips was like that guy when he first came in with the Dallas Cowboys. He was like your dad, but also like best friend that you can talk to,
Yeah.
and one of the greatest guys I've ever met. And once they said that Wade Phillips was coming to Denver, I was like, oh man, that's great. I know what type of defensive minded guy is. Cool that every single year he like dedicated one game to his dad. Like it was one game to where he would call a game like his dad would call it against certain formations. And so that week, it was real sentimental because he didn't say much. He didn't talk about what he was going to do before that game, but during that game, he turned into a whole nother person. I'm talking about his tenacity, the plays he called, and it made me play harder because I knew what he was playing for. I don't think he lost one of those games that he dedicated to his dad while I was playing because socks off.
Yeah.
But I mean, I look at that picture right there, man. It's just monumental, legendary. And guess what? Quiet personality. That's what I would see right there. I mean, it's cool, man. It brings back so many memories, and I'm glad you showed that picture. Man,
I thought it was perfect.
Today,
the jacket and the hat. It just
yeah,
man. Well, I remember I saw him at the combine a few years ago. I don't know if you've ever met Lance Zierlein out of Houston. He does a bunch of the NFL draft profiles and NFL draft coverage for the network. But we were walking along, and Lance's dad was I believe an offensive line coach in the league for a number of years. So I think he knows Wade from his time in Houston. I chatted with Wade for just a bit. It was one of you feel like if you, or at least I felt like if I was across the table from him, it'd be like I'd known him for forever.
That's how he makes you feel.
Yeah.
He makes you feel close, comfortable, but I mean, for a coach like Wade, he makes you want to run through like a wall for him. Yeah. And that's what you want. Like, no matter what he calls, it's going to work. We're going to make it work, and we're going to figure it out.
Oh, how you doing, Lance? Texas drawl. It was great. All right. Well, I want to start wrapping up. Said, I know you got other stuff going on. I do want to talk, before we left, is a hobby of yours, a passion of yours that we discussed at the NFL Network, and that's photography. You're kind of a bit of an amateur. That's one of your hobbies that you enjoy so much. Have you gotten to do any of that lately?
Shooting like crazy. I mean, you can see right now, I got a lens here, another lens here. I mean, I got my gimbals, dude. I mean, you name it.
You got the cool toys.
Office. Oh yeah, I think if you're going to get in it, you got to do it. But it's one of those things where if I can capture the moment, it lasts a lifetime. And just been getting into photography, getting into videography. I got my light right here too. You just don't see it here.
Yep.
So just been getting into a lot of things, and I know you've been doing the same thing, and it's just one of those things where it's an outlet that's very challenging to get what you're looking for in the image or the video that you're looking for, the feel for. But it's something that I do every single day. I get outside. I've actually started building drones and flying drones and working with those. So this has been a hobby of mine, and I've been really enjoying it.
What do you shoot with?
The Sony A9. So
okay.
I just got the Sony A9 for Christmas, and been working with that and the Dragon Red camera. So I went big boy on the
well, you know,
the 8K.
Big hands. You got to get the big camera.
Exactly.
What if people wanted to see your photography? Do you post it anywhere?
I have not. I have not posted any photography. I have a lot of it hung at the house right now, but I need to start like posting a lot of it. and writing why I took the picture, because usually there's a reason why, and either put it out there, and I'm going to start doing that a lot more. I think the fans will like it.
Well, I feel I mean, I know you post a bunch of your stuff on Instagram, and I feel like that's such a good medium for that. You have a separate DeMarcus Ware Instagram account, and I've sold like a couple of pictures here and there. I always wanted to try to sell to pay for more gear.
Yeah.
I don't need to, I'm not trying to retire. I just want to buy more cameras with it, right? So I feel like you could easily do that.
Dude, the gear is where it's at.
Yeah.
The gear is where it's at. I think I'll start. I think I should start a page and put a lot of my photography on there, and then put the reasons why I'm taking these photos. And guess what? Our next photo shoot, we need to go out. And
just some themed story where we I was a fan. I'd want to watch that of photography, but I actually took some when I was in Los Angeles before we moved, and then I was back there last September, and I took my camera with me, and I found a cool overlook of downtown, real far away though, for some really cool night shots. I went 4 in the morning to get the sun coming up, and I because taking the picture is one thing, finding the time to go, that's a whole different thing. Edited, so I need to.
That's a whole different beast.
Yeah,
take it in, edit different things.
Yeah. So anyway, I will wrap up here because I've already taken up too much of your time. But man, it's good catching up with you. I'm glad you guys have been healthy. Yeah, but glad you guys have been staying healthy and been able to manage everything, and you've been able to build some other stuff while you're in the meantime. And my apologies to all the viewers that we've had the technical issues, but that's technology for you. At least you get to listen in. So until next time.
Take care.
All right, man. Be well. I'll talk to you.
All right. Bye-bye. Peace.